Paul, what's going on, man? So, thanks for coming on the podcast. So, how we met, we'll start there. I was so I don't like to tell the lot that we were in because I feel like that's, even though it's wide open, it's kind of like it seems to never fully fill up sometimes.
Right. That's kind of how it is. But you go ahead and tell them the story on how we met, and it was just one of those things that happened. You know, that's kind of how things in this neighborhood, being Bentonville, kind of happens. You know, you'll go out for a ride or something, you'll meet all these people, and things just start happening. I think that's the coolest thing, you know, about this area. Yeah,
for sure. So I was riding, and Paul, he's got this like black Sprinter van, obviously with that, so someone's not trying to like hunt him down. But I was like, hey man, that's a pretty sweet van. And you're like, yeah, thanks. So I was like, yeah, I've been kind of in the market slowly. And you're like, all right. And then we started talking about, you had a sticker for the Arkansas Enduro races. And then we started talking about that. And you're telling me, hey, yeah, this guy puts it on. And there's still a couple coming up and da-da. And then, you know, we're just in the lot. And I was like, hey, I heard about these new trails called Hand Cut Hollow, but it's on Price Coffee Road. And you didn't even hesitate. You're like, get in. And I was like, huh? You're like, yeah, get in. I'll go. And you just got done riding, but you were like, hey, I'm happy to show somebody around.
Yeah, that's exactly how it happened. The thing about you asking about the hand-cut hollow trails, so the hand-cut hollow trails at that time were the newest trails. You know, all us locals, we're all really excited about it. It's got some killer runs and everything, you know, everything that you can ride. It's not so much of a session area, you know, like the skills park. It's just something you start at the hub, you pick your line and just rip down it.
Yeah.
And at that time, it was brand new. So when you said Hand Cut Hollow, I said, oh, okay, this guy hasn't been there. I got to be the one to take him.
Yeah.
And, you know, I pre-qualified you, by the way. I said, oh, this guy's cool. He's Other than that, I said, hey, no habla, man. I don't know what you're talking about. I got to go.
Got to go. Yeah, you had like a little checklist in your van before you let me in it.
Right.
So now over at Hand Cut Hollow, even though it's on a different hill, there's a whole new section.
Right.
I forget the name of those trails.
Well, okay, so that Hand Cut Hollow, it's the trail system. So it actually, the main parking is up on J Street, and it dumps you into a pretty nice cross country. And from the cross country trail, you go across J, and you go up to the hub. So that area, including the cross country off of J, the hub area, and it kind of pushes on back. There's actually 3 hillsides that the Hand Cut Hollow trail system's on, and you can access it from a local neighborhood other than the J parking lot or the old parking lot out in the field. So it's really accessible, but it was hard. Like at that time, it was hard for me to tell you, okay, go this way, make a right, make a left, you know, without pedaling your guts off and probably getting lost. So, but once you're up there and you kind of know the lay of land, you know, it's like, okay, you know, I got this. So everything basically around here ties in to every trail network.
Yeah.
And that's, you know, what makes it so cool. But as far as the Hand Cut Hollow, being it at the time was one of the newest areas, and I don't know how many runs we hit, but there's something for everybody. There's a rock garden, the jump line. Yeah. Probably the most unique feature about that particular trail system is I've never been on a trail system that actually starts on one hillside, shoots you down into a ravine, and then takes you up on another hillside, and it zigzags through, you know, and you're getting your elevation not exactly from going straight down, but coming off of the hillsides, descending, and then going back up and, you know, coming back down. And it really gives you a feel of like, whoa, you know, I really did something. And all the speed you want. It's as crazy as your legs can push you. The faster you go, you know, dynamics change. And it's like, oh, no, I'm going to, you know, lose it. But it really makes you step your game up. And it's fun. You know, the climb out's not bad either, but.
Yeah. What is that trail that drops down in that gully? Do you remember the name of that trail? Well, there's kind of 2. You could take 2 lines.
Yeah, there's 2 lines. So the trail that, you know, I should know this, but I don't.
I'll say this. Whatever you climb up, it will be the first trail on your left, right?
So, yeah, so when you climb up and you're on the hub, looking back toward the way you climbed up, it'll be the second on your right.
Yeah.
And then it'll shoot you down, and it'll give you an option to hit that drop and go to the other side of the hill, or keep going straight and hit a rock garden, and then it takes you to the other side of the hill.
Yeah.
I should know that name, but I don't.
It's all right.
I don't know. It's that trail, but, if you want to meet me up there, we'll hit it again. No name, It doesn't matter. I know where it is.
Yeah, so when I first met you, I just got, I was still kind of recovering from probably my worst accidents, so mentally I wasn't ready, so I just kind of took it easy, but you were a pretty gracious host to be like, hey man, I'll just ride at your speed, no rush. But now I feel like I'm ready to go back. Well, if this weather ever breaks for us.
Right. Well, that's another good thing about that area. It'll actually sustain under, a good heavy rainfall, more so than a lot of them will. The drainage is good. I don't know the engineering that those guys did to make that trail, but it's, I would say it's spot on. Even the climbing trail. There's not too many places that have berms on the climbing trail, and you're wondering, why is this berm here on this climbing trail? But after you get used to it, you're actually using that berm to kind of slingshot you around. And it's a cool thing, Like I say, I have no idea about the engineering other than it works. It works at slow speed. You can go as fast as you want, as slow as you want. It just depends on you. The faster you go, though, everything changes. And it's a pretty good rush if you're into that.
Yeah.
If you're not, just hit it and cruise,
And then the new stuff of Hand Cut Hollow is kind of across the hill. I don't know the name of those trails, but they're real fun, like flowy, like blue rides. There's one black, I didn't ride that, but
right.
blue trails.
Yeah, that's another good one. What I like most about that area, the new area, is you've got the flow trail, you've got I guess it's a thing around here now to hit bridges,
Yeah.
The bridges are just like insane, and you're coming up on them. You say, oh, this is a bridge,
Yeah.
and you're thinking a walking bridge. But if you hit that bridge right, you're kind of floating over the bridge. You still kind of think you're on the ground, but you look down, you're 2 feet above the ground.
Right.
You just kind of float over it. So you've got that type of trail, and there's more in the works. I think next year they're going to do some type of slope style course. But they're always incorporating some type of a rock garden. That first trail on the right, it's just a giant rock garden, and those are my favorites, So everywhere around we can find the rock gardens, the flow trails, the jump lines, or whatever. But that's going to be so good once they get it done.
Yeah, for anybody listening, if you want to find these trails and you're in Slaughter Pen, all these trails are kind of Slaughter Pen backside of it. Those trails, the 3 jumps out in the middle of the field, what do they call that area? Just a free ride area, I guess?
That'd be the Skills Park.
Skills Park. Mm-hmm. So keep hanging right as you see that straight ahead, and then you just keep following that, and you'll end up in the new section.
Right.
Yeah. So, let's go back. So you moved here a year ago already. Have you hit the year mark yet?
No. November 1st is the year
man,
mark.
we are close.
We're close.
So you moved here from California?
No, moved here, did a couple years in St. Louis and kind of picked up on their scene.
Okay.
Was actually in California when we found this house here. The idea was to get back to California, put some roots down and take advantage of what California had to offer, that type of riding. Have always been interested in coming down to Bentonville, but unsure. So the St. Louis connection is what I call it. There have been a good group of friends of mine that have been moving down here for the past couple years, and it's always, hey man, Bentonville, like whatever. The guys that moved here, they were all legitimate riders. I mean, these guys could ride and shred, and for them to move their whole families down here to Bentonville and start all over just for the sake of riding and do it, and in essence thrive in this town, it was I actually couldn't believe it. So back in California, when they found a house, basically threw everything in the van, drove here in 2 days, saw the house, said, okay, let's do this, and really was only planning on staying here 1 year. because I'm going to ride every day,
every
single day. And we got the snowstorm here and whatever. It wasn't any big deal. I was still riding. But then almost a year later, I don't see a downside of living here. Number one, of course, it's the riding. But one of the biggest things, we can ride anywhere. Yeah. Like I've ridden everywhere, whatever. But the community is kind of what is keeping us here.
Yeah.
And I don't see it changing in the future.
Yeah. I'd say the community. Oh, this is how we met. Community, right?
Right.
And you've already introduced me to some other people that will hopefully come on this podcast. Actually, we're in a motel, or an inn, I guess you would call it, parking lot, recording this, and then hopefully that guy who just opened that will come on and,
Bentonville Bike Inn.
Yeah, Bentonville Bike Inn. Is it the Bike Inn or Bentonville Bike Inn?
I just happen to have a T-shirt with his logo on it, so it's
I'm going to have to get one of those.
The Bike Inn, Bentonville.
Yeah. And we are, literally, I can look out the window and see, there's an intersection right there. We're right in Bentonville.
Right.
But, but you've been riding your whole life.
Well, you had to put me on the spot, and the answer is yes.
Yeah.
Basically. Yeah. Basically. Started in the 60s. What? When? Started in the 60s, and every kid in California had a bike, and we just rode. Unlike Bentonville, there were no designated areas for us to ride, so we rode wherever we could, and just kind of grew up that way. And from there, it's always been a part, of my life, as far as me riding, my kids riding, BMX racing, whatever, and just kind of staying on it, because mountain biking and cycling for me has always been there. It's not a big push. Oh, I have to ride every day. It's something that if you're used to riding and something comes up in your life and you've got to work extra or something happens, you can always put it down.
Yeah.
And not have to really stress about it, because when you're ready to ride, you just pick it back up and go. But I wish in the 60s and the 70s and the 80s, I wish there was a community like this. A lot of the stuff we were riding, like I say, we just found them, dirt lots, wherever we could ride. So we rode, but we didn't really, I guess, progress. I hate that word progress, but we didn't really progress like the generation growing up here now. Every day I see these young kids, and it's like, wow, they're just blowing my mind. And a lot of these kids I saw when I first moved here, in the beginning of the year, and their skills were good, but then fast forward to the end of the season, these kids have put so much work in there, with the support of the community and their families, that they've went from mediocre riders to, I would almost bet some of these guys coming out from this area are going to be world class. If not, they're just about there. So watching that, it's just kind of unreal. And I'm just hoping that these kids know how lucky they are to be, number one, in this town, number two, in this time, because everybody supports it. When we were doing it in the 60s and 70s, it was kind of like an outlaw thing, bike riders, people throwing rocks at us and stuff like that. But we would ride, Our jumps were pallets and garbage cans.
What?
To where, what? That's why I can't jump right now, because put a pallet in a garbage can out there, I'm taking anybody out. But now with all these big lips and just the way the sport has gone, it's incredible. I only wish that I had more time to give, not to give, but to ride,
Yeah, for sure. I'd say Bentonville, Arkansas, there's no in a sense, oh, this is too dangerous. Let's have something for everybody, and they also do a good job of more tabletops, not so much as big gaps, so everybody can progress.
Right. And that's another good thing about this area. I know sometimes in some circles, Bentonville, mountain biking capital of the world, it's kind of like people say, what? But if you break it down, it kind of really is, because of the trails for everybody, the community, the economy is great here. And you can live here comfortably, or I can, and be able to ride and just not have it really interfere with your regular everyday life, because it kind of turns into your everyday life.
Yeah.
But I think the biggest thing that some of the people don't realize that aren't from here is that riding here in Bentonville kind of gives us all the skill sets that if we want to go out to Colorado and just go nuts at some of the bike parts, we have the skill sets to do that, or travel just about anywhere. And when we get to those type of trails in Colorado, Arizona, wherever, Utah, we're ready. Instead of people going from an area that they're not riding a lot and they're going to Colorado to hit the big jump lines and they just can't figure it out, or it takes them the whole trip and either they're not jumping or they're ending up in the hospital, and that's because they haven't had access to things that we have here.
Right.
So mountain bike capital of the world, I'd have to say it is, because we're ready.
Yeah.
You know, and there's something for everybody, every level. If you're a beginner, you can hit the beginner trails, and as you get better in skills, there's something for everybody. And you know, even if you want more, you can push out about an hour, hit Leatherwood, Ponca, or whatever. And those are pretty much world class too.
Yeah.
So,
and then they're building some stuff in southern Missouri too.
Well, southern Missouri too. So Missouri most definitely is on the map. That's another area, the St. Louis area, where I spent a couple years. The talent of riders is incredible, but also the mindset is great, because they in a short time have went from a couple few good trails, and they're making a lot of movement. So I'm not going to say the model for the St. Louis area or any other area is Bentonville, but I'd almost say that even the people that don't live here, they know Bentonville, and in some way or another, they're trying to emulate what we have to offer. So the Stoke is alive here in Bentonville, but it's pushing out, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, we have people coming from everywhere. You know, I've got my friends from California that right now are booking trips to come out here.
Yeah.
The worst part about that is they're going to depend on me to guide them in. So
Yeah.
I might have to call you and say, hey, man, I got all these
Hey, man.
from California. I need some help.
Yeah, I'm all for it. I've seen many, many people here. They'll have their phone, or they're just kind of like, hey, which way? And I'm just like, hey, where are you headed? What are you looking to find? They're like, we don't know. I was like, let's just go. I'll find you some good stuff. And, I mean, like, back to community, you know, they're just kind of like, they're super happy about that. They're like, man, thanks. We didn't know where to go. And those were some fun trails. And I'm like, yeah, absolutely. And then I was like, hey, here's my number. If you want to try again tomorrow or in 2 days, let's ride. So, yeah, I mean, I've seen Louisiana, Mississippi, Texas for sure.
Yeah, Texas for sure.
I think Minnesota, Indiana. Yeah, they come through, man.
Yeah, there's a lot more East Coast people are coming out here. And, you know, last year was kind of a tough year for us here in Bentonville. And you know, I'm local now, so I'll say us, because of the COVID deal.
Yeah.
Whatever. But I think the year coming up, I think next year is just going to be huge. And I'm looking forward to that, because no matter how many people come into this town, we have enough trail systems that I think to accommodate them. And not only that, where can you go that you can ride, get off the trail, and like grab a burger or some good food, or hit a bike shop, or chill out, or whatever, you know?
Yeah.
We've all been in that situation where we're way out in Colorado or something, and it's almost like a day-long camping trip, and there's some point of the trip where you're just done with it, you know, but you're out there, and oh man, you know, I've got to drive back to get some food or something. But here, you don't really experience that. You know, you're hungry, you go out and settle down and get a bite to eat, or something like that. It's just too easy.
Yeah, like Colorado or Utah, you're at a bike park, you're kind of limited what the ski resort's going to pay you at, and you're going to pay $20 for a hamburger or something, versus here, you're going to ride down the street.
Yeah.
So, well, so when you know, I've seen you ride and you got some skills, so But did you grow up BMX, or when did you cross over to enduro style?
All right, so that's the big thing, BMX for sure, motorcycles for sure, race motorcycles, did the BMX thing. However, the BMXing I did wasn't racing. What I did in the 80s, 70s, 60s and 70s, you just get on your bike and ride, wheelie around, whatever. But then it turned into flatland. I used to flatland. We would go all up and down the coast, to hit flatland spots. And so flatland, meaning back then, is I never got off the ground. You're just doing tricks on the ground. So it's like, okay, BMX, you must be able to jump because you're one of those BMX guys. Yeah, but I was a BMX flatland guy. So that explains some of the stuff why I'm kind of challenged jumping. I can jump, but I don't call it jumping. I'll survive anything. Whatever, nasty case, king case a lot, cold case squat. I've heard it all, but whatever.
Call your lawyer.
Yeah. So then back to the motorcycles. Oh, you used to moto. All these young guys are thinking about all these guys that are racing moto. Well, I used to flat track. So what flat track meant is you went around in a circle sliding sideways. You never left the ground. It was still racing. So, just to give me a little bit of credit for not jumping, that's because the discipline I was doing in BMX, we didn't jump, and in motorcycles, we didn't jump. It was hot shoe, leathers, crank it sideways and gas it. So, the struggle is real as far as jumping. However, I am getting better at it,
Yeah.
And there's a different drive that these, I guess, the younger generation have right now as far as jumping. These guys are turning into, I guess, jumping technicians. When I jump, I need a little more speed than most people.
Yeah.
But these younger guys, you just have to come out and see them. And I know you see these what we call groms. 12-year-old guys, just no-handers, whatever, Superman,
No fear either.
No fear. And they bounce, I've had too many broken bones. I'm about to get concussions. I think one more, and, I'll be on a scooter or something. That's what I mean by I wish I had more time, because I would probably, push a little more and try to be like these young guys. But I'm totally satisfied in my progression from day one until now. So the thing for me right now isn't really to try to progress and do a backflip or something. It's just kind of retaining what skills I have. And then, of course, enduro racing. Enduro racing is a format of racing that, if you think about it, it's kind of what we did even before the label enduro came in, because we used to push up the hills in Santa Cruz, talk a lot of trash, get to the top, and then, on your mark, get set, go, blast down the hill or the trail, and then walk to the next trail, walk up. So if you think about enduro, it's about the same thing. The time segments are down, and then you have to pedal to the next area. So enduro, I believe, has actually been around longer than the name. But the good thing about enduro, what it did is, in the cycling industry, there was a point in time where I think everything was stagnant. It was cross country or downhill.
Right.
I remember the first time big suspension bikes would come on a cross country trail, and they was, oh, that's silly, you don't need that. But you actually, it fits now. So with the introduction of enduro, it just ignited the mountain biking format. So you had something else. Either I don't want to ride cross country because I don't like to pedal, or I don't want to die and ride downhill because there's no, we don't have a legit downhill section. But we can enduro anywhere,
Yeah.
A couple years ago, Dustin Slaughter took the enduro through the streets of Bentonville. What a cool segment to be racing in, a segment through town. Like, okay.
That'd be sweet.
So it's basically, we're racing. But enduro is, it's just a name, but it's so accessible for everybody. A lot of times I'll go to an enduro race and really not want to race. But it's not that I don't want to be there. It's that, I'm not feeling it today. But I promise you, at the end of the race, even though maybe I didn't podium or something, it was the best day. It was a good day. It's about racing if you want it to be racing. If not, you go out with your buddy and you just do what you do and just have a good time.
Yeah, I'll say, downhill is cool to watch. The scene's pretty good, but like enduro, not everybody's going to do downhill because it's so extreme. But enduro, even if it's kind of for all and everyone seems to be like happy, they're having fun. Like I've been to cross country races that it's so serious that you're just like, why? I'm not even enjoying this. Like even as a spectator, because they're just like, everyone's just like, I gotta be podium. Then afterwards, like, oh, that guy just beat me. I'm just like, yeah, man, but we're having fun, right? It's just like, let's relax. Let's relax.
Yeah,
and I feel like enduro is more relaxed, but people but they're still racing.
Right, and you have these guys that race enduro a little bit more serious.
Yeah,
and that's absolutely fine. I like about it because every enduro race that I've ever done, whether I won, lost, or whatever, you look back on your times and you think back, man, I could have done better, and you can actually pick out the segment or the area where if you would have done it a little bit better, you would have done better. But also the best thing about enduro is when you come out there, it's almost like anybody can win. If somebody has a bad day, has a flat, has another flat, it doesn't matter how fast they are. But you get that guy that's just on that steady, even keel, knows how to use his energy. Everybody has a possibility of winning. So it kind of shows you, kind of not to give up. Just keep pushing because you never know. There are guys at podium not because they're necessarily faster or more skilled, but they stayed with it. And the faster guy, he just had a bad day. So everybody has bad days. I love to be on the podium all the time because it makes me feel good. But when I'm not, it's still a good day.
Yeah, I've seen you post on social. Like I think you might not get a podium, but you're like, oh, what a great team, what a great turnout or something. So you stay positive with it.
Yeah, and that comes from the environment. The environment that we're in, it's just so positive. And if you look at the people, there are people from every walks of life, and we all have that common thing. There's weekend warriors. There are guys that actually train. I wish I would train, but I'm not that guy. I'm going to get up, go to McDonald's, have me Egg McMuffin and maybe a soda, and I'm going to go out and race. And that's just the way I do it. But in the back of my mind, I'm thinking, doggone it, Paul, if you would actually train, eat better, and take this more seriously, you would be on the podium. But like I said, I'm totally happy with how things are going right now. The only thing against me right now is age. And I was talking to Dustin Slaughter and those guys. I said, dude, why don't you guys get a 60 and over class? Because in the California State Enduro, there's actually a 60 and over class. So now being 61, when I hear about that guy that just turned 49 to 50, to me, he's still a punk kid. You know? Man, I got to try to race this guy. He's a baby face guy that can pedal forever. So, it's just kind of weird, but I'm not not going to race because there's not a 60 and over class. I'm going to keep going, However, I start trash talking a little bit early, so I play a mental game too. And it's kind of weird to even say that, but it's fun just to attempt to play a mental game. And I mean, we're a bunch of 50 and over guys, but we still play some mental stuff, I got a
still competitive.
Yeah, I'm not feeling it. No, man, I feel really good, but I'm going to tell this guy, man, no, I don't know. I got a stomach ache. And then just kind of let that soak in and maybe catch him by surprise,
So did you do before enduro? Did you do any other racing besides quote unquote BMX through the years? No.
Not really. There was a few things in the St. Louis area that I participated in just because it was fun, with the guys, but didn't really catch the, catch the urge to start racing until I don't know where I was. I think I was in Mojo's or something, and Dustin Slaughter, those guys were sitting around, and they said, "Paul, are you going to race?" I said, "No, because you guys are sold out." and I didn't want to race, but I couldn't say, no, I don't want to race. I said, no, man, you guys are sold out. So otherwise I'd be there, but you're sold out. And he said, no, get on the waiting list. So I got on the waiting list just to save some face. And then I got in, and I was second guessing myself. Do I really want to do this? But when I got done, I was just so fired up. I got home and said, oh, I did this race. I sucked, but it was so fun. All the people. So that just kind of got the fire going, and it's really a good thing, especially at I keep saying age, especially at this age, to where sometimes I think I have as much stoke as that 12 or 14-year-old guy, maybe not as intense, but I look forward to it. A 2022, the racing season, I'm kind of setting my whole life up just to hit some races, and have some fun. So that's kind of where I'm at right now.
Yeah, I think we're going to try to work together. Dustin, speaking of Dustin again, Dustin puts on the Southern Enduro, which is Texas, Arkansas, Oklahoma. I feel like there's one other state, but I could be wrong.
No, I think that's it.
Yeah, what is it, like 5 Enduros?
Yeah.
And so yeah, we should maybe, I want to at least try some of those.
Yeah, I don't think I'll hit the whole series, but I'm definitely going to hit probably 3 of them, and give that a go. The good thing about that is it starts early in the season, so by the time things get ramped up here, there'll be some good races or some good riding, and we can, I can just carry that on into spring and summer and just try to have a really solid year doing it.
Yeah, but he said by that when I was talking to him, by the time it's over, it's April, but then the next series already starts back up, so it doesn't stop.
Right.
So, yeah, you said you don't train. Do you think you're going to go into, look at something that you want to, train for, or how to go about that for the race?
Well,
so the reason I ask is I'm looking at that myself, and someone's like, "Oh, try CrossFit," but then I've read there's they don't really go together, and then I've read other ways. So I'm kind of in the same boat. I was just kind of get your opinion.
Well, all right. So from the experts I've talked to, cross training, whatever, but conditioning as far as strengthening your body, push-ups. I'll just say push-ups, and just it's everything there and more. To get stronger is going to definitely help you ride. My concern is getting stronger and maybe trying to bulk up a little bit to for the inevitable is for when you hit the ground or pop that tree or something. So that's more of what I'm concerned about is being in the best shape I can be to be able to withstand ground impact. I crashed a couple months ago, and it was like, wow. And it took a minute to get my body back to where I was feeling like pushing it. So that would be that training. And as far as everything else, the lungs and legs, I think I can do that on the bike on our daily rides or something. I don't really ride hard. And when I do ride hard, it generally breaks down to about maybe 1 day a week to where, okay, let's just push it hard. Other than that, it's just all, pedaling around, not at a slow speed, but at a moderate speed, just to make sure everything's working and, cardio, breathing. So from there, on that aspect of it, just kind of pedaling around. But as far as weight training, the only reason I'm going to do that is just so I can take the shot, because we've all broken bones.
Yeah. When I had my wreck on the trails, what's it called? Not drop the hammer down.
Hammer down. Right.
Yeah. So my buddy's like, man, he's like, thankfully you got a little bit of muscle there, because he's like, if you were a stick, you'd probably be broken. I was like, I didn't even think about that.
Yeah, that's the truth, and and I could use some more muscle. Whether or not I'm going to get it, I don't know. You know, I don't know how many muscles I can build with push-ups and the old jumping jack routine, which I don't think anybody does jumping jacks, but I think I'm going to bring it back. You know, I'm going to do a video on jumping jacks.
Don't do the ones, if you want to see something funny, the Afghan soldiers doing jumping jacks. They can't get the coordination down.
Oh, no, you need rhythm to do jumping jacks. I think people don't understand that. So if I'm out there doing a jumping jack in my boxers, you know, give me some credit that I've got a little rhythm and I'm doing jumping jacks. Yeah.
Well, cool. Yeah, I definitely, I'm going to keep looking into it. Somebody said maybe even try just to do like some Orange Theory Fitness because it's like circular.
Right.
Circuit stuff. So I might look into that. Just something, I don't know.
Yeah, I think you can, as far as fitness and training, you can take that as deep as you want to take it. There are fitness coaches around here, legitimate guys, that not only go into fitness, but nutrition is a big part of it. My nutrition is I'll eat basically whatever I want to eat. I know what doesn't work for me, so I stay away from that. Haven't really tuned it on the nutrition side, but I'm not really looking to either. You know, if I want a cheeseburger, I'm getting a cheeseburger.
Yeah. How'd you figure out what did and what didn't work? Just like low energy?
Low energy, and I don't know for everybody else, but a lot of processed foods. I noticed when I used to eat, you know, processed foods, being whatever it was, is my joints would ache, elbows, knees, and just every joint would ache. And then cleaning that up, getting away from the processed foods, more vegetables and more fruits, vegetables, and just cleaner food. It just takes the joint pain away. So I was taking, I forgot what medication I was taking. I think it was meloxicam for elbows and stuff, and that worked too. But the long-term effects with that particular drug, it was kind of scary. So cleaning it up, diet, and I figured that out on my own because, you know, eat clean for about a week, and it's like, wow, you know, my elbows aren't hurting. So I think that's a pretty big part of it. I can't break it down to the exact science. I'm sure some people can, and that just goes all a part of, I know what works for me, and what works for me right now is about all I need.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I would say even if you eat the crappy food and you get on the bike, you're like, man, my endurance last week was great. Now it's garbage.
Yeah. That's the truth too. You know, a long time ago I got into this thing. It's probably old by now. It's called biorhythms, and your body has like a biorhythm, and it'll peak and then it'll go down and slump. So if you kind of know that you're not always 100% on that level, and if you feel your energy, or if I feel my energy is going down just a little bit, I'm not talking about, oh, I can't move, but when it goes down, you know, I kind of understand, okay, it's kind of not my day. So then I have to, you know, work a little bit harder, maybe eat just a little bit more. But when your body is giving you the green light and it's feeling good, then you can maximize that and just go after it. But when it's not, you know, everybody doesn't have a good day, but it doesn't mean you just have to stop and not participate.
Yeah, we were just talking before we started how, you know, about having alcohol, and how I had like a salad and a beer last night and I still felt full this morning. And we kind of came to the conclusions like it's kind of like your gluten in your gut. It's just doesn't like it.
Right. And what works for some doesn't work for another. You know, I don't drink, and it's not that I'm an alcohol hater or something, but that's another part that it just doesn't work for me. You know, I would love to sit there and drink some beers with the boys or something like that before or after the ride, but it just doesn't work for me.
Yeah.
Other than that, I'd be having a beer with the boys, 2 or 3 or 10 or however many it took. But as of right now, it's just not for me.
Yeah, no, understandable. And as I get older, I've kind of it's just not going with me either. I'm just, maybe I'll have to try a different way, maybe just like a little bourbon or something every now and then if I need it. But you're not going to have that right after a race, you know?
No.
But, so we'll see. So one thing we didn't mention that we didn't start the show with is we're in a Sprinter van that I have recently purchased. I haven't really shown anybody. This is like literally the first. You're really the first person. Well, I've seen some family, but like anybody like seen it. So this is kind of the new studio. We're still in the works, and you're the first person to have on it. So thanks for coming on. So you liked it, so I appreciate it.
Yeah, that's another cool thing about mountain biking is in this town there are so many sprinters, and the big vans, the Ford vans, the Sprinter vans, and it's just pretty cool. I think vans like this, they're the ultimate vehicle for guys that ride a lot.
Yeah.
You stash your gear in there, you can camp out, you can do whatever you want. It just fits our lifestyle. But to see so many of them in this town, it's pretty cool. And it's it's definitely a function, a functional vehicle.
Yeah. So mine's a little bit longer than yours, so it feels like I'm driving a motorhome. But my daily driver is a pickup truck, and then driving this, I'm like, geez, I gotta adjust. You can't corner. You just gotta be easy with it. It's not something fast.
No, it's not fast. It'll get you there though.
Yeah.
And like I say, in mine during the summer, I've got the bike in there, all the gear, the food. So when I'm ready to go, I'm just ready to go. It's not built out as much as some, or even like yours. I kind of use it for a pickup truck.
Yeah.
But for what I use it for, it works great. Now next year I'll probably tweak it around just a little bit, to get a little more comfy on the road. But right now, I can't complain.
Well, it lured me in.
There you go. And that's another thing about this spot that we're in, the Bike Inn, is there are so many vans around that you can just pull up to a spot like this. They have power, pull in power, and you're good to go. They've got a shower out here, and it's just almost too easy. Almost too easy.
I'd say if there was a default where we're parked, you are about a mile from a trailhead, maybe, you think?
Possibly a mile. Possibly a mile.
Don't get me wrong. There's sidewalks and there's trails, greenways, so it's not terrible. But you're just it's something.
Yeah. So this is something that accessibility from the road is easy. It's easy to be here. You can jump on the trail for sure. About a mile. Lots of people do it. But it goes back down to this particular place is owned by a mountain biker, and it's just about exclusively for mountain bike people. And when you come in, and this is not a paid endorsement, it's just the vibe I get. I love this place. You come in and check the rooms out. It's all about biking.
Yeah.
It's all about mountain biking. I've seen this place so full, and then with the fire pit and everything. So in the evenings, if you want to chill, you're chilling with mountain bikers, so you've got stories going from different states, different country, and it just brings stuff just a little bit closer. It's not like a bed and breakfast that's right off of the trail, but then again, I don't think it needs to be, because we're mobile. Heck, Kohler's 4 blocks from my house, and sometimes I ride, sometimes I drive my van down there.
Yeah. So let's. I don't know. I like talking about trails. So, do you like Slaughter Pen or Kohler for trail wise, or if you like accessibility? Okay. I guess they're both pretty accessible. I shouldn't say that. So, if you're like, I'm going to go ride, do you prefer Slaughter or Kohler?
That is a good question. With the only good answer I can tell you is that it depends on my mood. So, to me, Kohler is for a different mood. Kohler's got the dual slalom, which is probably one of the best dual slaloms around. It's very unique. So we've got that. Drop the Hammer, of course. Fireline.
Cease and
Assist, which leads into Fireline, which I believe they're getting a remake here this winter. Some of the best wet weather runs are right there with Oscars and Esters. The Greenway, and of course the coffee shop. So back to the original question, do I prefer one to the other? And that would be no. It depends on the mood. I love Slaughter Pen. we can start from the top and go down All American. And I don't think a lot of people realize that as you're going down the main slaughter pen area, is there's so many trails to the right and the left of you. If you just take that greenway and blast through it, it's like, okay, this is it. But you can actually start on the top and loop all those trails together and just get a good long ride. And you're going to have just about anything, a little bit of climbing, a little bit downhill, rock gardens, jump lines. And, you know, some days you just kind of feel like that. Or from the slaughter pen, you know, you jump on the hand-cut hollow.
Yeah.
So everything actually, if you had the legs and all day, you could hit everything. You know, a lot of my friends, and they come down here on a weekly pilgrimage, and the first thing they say, oh, we're going to get up at 7:30 in the morning, we're going to ride till dark. I say, no, you're not.
Yeah, you're not.
You're going to get up at 7:30, you're going to ride until dark, and then I'll see them about 10 o'clock, and they'll just be smoked.
Yeah.
I said, okay, keep riding because it's not dark yet, and they're just smoked. So there's so much excitement to come down here and ride every day or ride all day, and it doesn't really work out. So what happens is they'll ride in the morning, get some food, hang out at the pub, do a little bike shopping, get their wheels back, and then, you know, maybe do a couple, 3 rides a day, and then everybody ends up over at the rail yard at night because they're open at night.
Yeah.
So you know, I try to slow them down a little bit. So, whoa, you know, you don't have to do this whole thing. Let's just chill down. Let's ride this spot, you know, whatever, Huntley, and just kind of ride like a local, take it in, and not be so panicked about it, you know.
Yeah. I rode Slaughter, took the Greenway, and came up a little connection that brings you up by Harp's Foods.
Yep.
And then dropped down the road to Kohler, rode Fireline, and I think I just rode the Fireline. Then went down the Greenway on the backside of Kohler, rode the Dual Saw, just I was the only one out there. Then came back up Third. Is that Third right there? Third. Mm-hmm. And then just went back to my car.
Yeah.
So, like, yeah, you can just mosey around.
You can mosey around, and a lot of times I'll leave from my house and go, you know, if I have a whole day, and I'll just kind of wander. I'll hit Kohler, you know, meet some people. And that's another thing about the ride. Sometimes I'll go out and ride. I'm going to ride for whatever, and I'll meet a group of people, and we might talk for an hour.
Yeah.
You know, we're sitting on our bikes, and we're just, everybody's talking and chilling and have a good time. You know, we're all having a good time. But that's what I like about this. You know, when you go out on a solo ride, you can always find somebody.
For sure.
And it turns into a good day, and just connect with different people.
Yeah, I haven't met anybody on a trail who's just like, leave us alone type thing. You know, I've never seen that. It's more like if I take a GoPro or I'm just kind of out there, hey, you want to ride with us? Hey, whatever. I'm just like, let's go. And no one asks, hey, what's your ability? They're just like, yeah, let's ride. We'll figure it out.
Yeah.
So that's good.
That's what I love about this area. And another thing that I like is the women. The women. I like the women. No, what I mean is there are so many women riders here, and they kind of have their own little niche.
Yeah.
To where, you know, usually, or back in the day, you wouldn't see a lot of women, but these women are riding. They're getting so much better, and they're owning it, you know. So it's good to see them get involved, and it's good to ride with them too. So we have these little kids that will ride with us, women, ourselves, younger and older. So it's just kind of a cool thing, you know.
Yeah.
And just different groups.
Yeah, I saw a group of women over at Jesse's Last Stand. They're all on e-bikes, and they loved that trail, which that trail is set up for everybody. There's jumps, but you can roll everything.
Right.
So and they kept hitting it, and I was like, man, they talked the whole way on the climb trail. They were hilarious. So, yeah, it's awesome. So, right now, what you're riding a Yeti, SB6?
SB6, 27.5. I'm holding out, but I said I'd never get a 29er, but never say never.
Right. So, of your enduro bikes, so how many enduro bikes have you had?
Basically, I've been on the SB6 for about 4 years.
Okay.
4.5 years. And that's the one I'm currently on. That's my 5th one. I ran one over, broke a couple, and, I don't want to get into all that, but I'm still on that SB6 27.5, and I like it because it fits the way I ride. But now that I'm a big-time enduro racer and I'm losing by 3 seconds or 4 seconds, I'm going up to the 29er just to see what that does. And I'm sure it won't make me a better rider, but it'll let me make better use of the energy I put out, because it takes a lot on that 650B to in certain places to kind of keep the pace up, to where if you kind of had a 29er, you just kind of save a little energy and go the same speed. And plus, they do go over rocks a little better. The rock gardens are getting a little more specific and a little more technical. So I'm thinking that 29er is going to help me a little bit.
Do you have bikes that are on your radar?
Well, of course, I won every single one of them, but I can't seem to get anything. No, I was thinking about the Alchemy. So, a buddy of mine, Chance Specs, got the new Alchemy, and it's a wonderful bike. It's actually a mullet. I
was gonna say I rode that at Outer Bike, not last weekend, but a year ago.
Right, and for him to say it's a good bike, I just kind of have to take that as solid info. But I'm probably going to stay with the Yeti because all my riding gear is turquoise.
Ah.
And,
So, do you have, is it Yeti or just turquoise?
No, it's just Yeti.
Okay.
Yeah, so
wow, you're kind of you kind of put yourself in a corner there.
Yeah, I'm in a corner, so I don't want to have to change my wardrobe because it changed bikes, which is actually a joke, it is, but it fits for me. The Yeti fits for me. It's just the problem the issue this year is, getting a hold of one in a timely manner. I'm not going to buy one and wait 6 months for it.
Yeah.
I've actually sourced them. I think they're coming out with a new design mid-year, so I don't know whether to hold off until mid-year for the new design, or just kind of do it right now. Like I say, that new design, a new design of anything isn't going to make me a better rider. But I don't know. I'll know in about a couple weeks because I need to do something pretty quick. Yeah,
I got the 2020 or 2021 Pivot Switchblade, and I like it. I had the Trail 49 before that, so like you with the Yeti, so I have no interest to leaving Pivot. I just like the way it rides.
Right. All right. So I get that a lot, and so everybody likes their own brand. Like Yeti. Why do you ride a Yeti? It's because I do. But most of the components are the same. But what it comes down to, or what it came down for me, is number one, I made a connection with the brand for sure. I like the company's philosophy. At the time, the dealer that I was dealing with, he was on top of things. So you just have to make a connection with that brand, and also take under consideration the shop that you're getting it from, because the shop that you get that bike from, down the line, they're really going to save you a lot of headache. A good reputable shop that can basically take care of your needs, with that particular bike that you're connected with. So am I going to say Yeti is the best bike on the planet? No, because there is no magic bullet.
Right.
It just happens to be what I connected with, and I'm probably going to stay with that.
Yeah, you made a good point there. There's no magic bullet. There's so many people who are getting the mountain biking are like, hey, what about this bike? What about this bike? I'm like, what meets your price range? Let's size you up. Let's start there, and then see how you like it the first year. Let's not, you could be up. I had a buddy who was up to 2 a.m. sending me, what about this one? I'm like, yeah, you're great, but you're almost going lateral. You're not gaining anything. They're all kind of the same.
Right.
And so yeah, to tell anybody, just pick a bike in your price range. Have like 3 you like, and then go from there. Now, one might be spec'd out a little different,
right?
but if you don't know too much about that, that's not going to make a difference.
No, and it takes about, I think it takes about a season to kind of really figure out. Like my younger brother, he just started riding. He was in the same deal. Hey, what about this? What about this? What about this? And when was the last time you rode? 1981. I said, okay, so just pick something within your budget and give yourself a year. Don't worry about too many things like carbon cranks or carbon wheels or whatever, because you just need to ride it. Give yourself a season, and at the end of the season, you're going to be able to answer all the questions you just asked me on your own. Just don't. You don't have to get the latest and greatest. There are guys that just get the latest and greatest, and that's fine if you can afford that.
Yeah.
Start out on top, but you don't necessarily need to do that at all, actually.
No, not at all. I mean, I started on a $500 bike, and then my next bike was $500, and then my next bike was $1,500, and I thought that was expensive.
It was. It is.
And then I was like, I'll never spend more than this. It was hard for me to give that up, and then I went to 3 times that.
Right.
And I was just like, what? And that, when I made the purchase, it was 3 times that. I didn't even phase it. It didn't even bother me. But it was weird how going backwards, I'm like, man, I barely want to spend $500.
Yeah.
But,
I mean, there's a couple components that I'm used to riding with that I wouldn't go back, as far as, I guess, downgrade. Because I've ridden enough to where you can feel the little nuances of like GX, or whatever. You can feel just that little shifting difference or something. Yeah. But that's because I ride not. Now you get your average rider that's a weekend warrior. He is not going to understand what's going on. He won't even feel it. Maybe after a year he might. Brakes are another thing. Some people like these brakes. Some people like some other brakes. But in starting, just get what you want. If you start holding 25 mile an hour down a hill, you're going to need some 4-piston brakes that grab pretty doggone good. But if you're smoking these trails around here, you're fine. You're fine with just about anything that comes stock on something.
Yeah, well, people don't realize who are just getting in mountain biking now that you have it's a 1x up front. Back when it was 3 rings up front, how much that messed with your chain, and getting that all lined up was a nightmare.
It was a nightmare.
So the people now who are just getting into it, who never been around bikes, you're welcome.
Yeah, you're welcome. And as far as all that goes, the 3 ring, and now we're a 1 ring, and we have the 50 in the back, or the Eagle, the 12-speed with the 51 or whatever, and the 9 in the front. It's like it's just it's 1 instead of 3, okay, but it's all mathematical. You can actually get your calculator and you can mathematically justify going to 1 ring and getting away from the 3 ring, because people say, oh, but I've got so many more gears. But in a mathematical sense, if you break it down, you have the same thing, if not a little bit more, just on the single speed. Yeah,
I know a guy who wanted to go back to 2 up front. And the bike shop's like, no, man, you don't need to. And he's like, no. And he's like, no, listen, don't do that.
Yeah, or like drop a chain. You're always dropping chains, or they're so noisy, and you just don't need them.
Yeah.
You don't need them.
Did you ever ride single speed?
I rode single speed for a little bit. I absolutely hated it because I thought that this was ridiculous. Until you ride behind somebody that can actually ride a single speed, and he just totally destroys you. I think riding single speed is, for the people that want to, I think it makes them so strong because they approach everything differently. But you get a good, solid single speed rider, and that guy can fly.
Really?
On a single speed, you bet.
Probably got tree trunk legs.
Well, tree trunk legs, yeah. Their core is definitely different, but then they approach everything a little bit different. You get on the gas more. You're more conscious of of braking, you know. Like me, I'll go and I hit a handful of brakes, skid that tire, downshift, and pedal out. On a single speed, you kind of don't want to do that because it's so hard to get that thing going again.
Yeah.
So I think in every sense, it makes you a better rider from controlling your braking, your cornering, and power output. So
Really?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I can give you a couple guys named that ride single speed, and you'll probably be hating life because these guys are just flying.
So one of the coolest bikes I seen is a nuke proof. It was 160 front hardtail. So it had a fork 160, then it was a hardtail. And I didn't see it here. I saw it somewhere else. But the guy said it was like the bee's knees.
Yeah.
And then I seen out here a guy had a dual crown hardtail.
Yeah.
Have you seen that?
No.
And the guy said it was awesome. He's like, yeah. He said one thing it does not do well, but I forget what he said. But other than that, it's a dream.
Yeah. So there's another silly name that they designated for those bikes that are kind of slacked out, big travel hardtail is they're calling them down country, whatever. I don't even know what that means, but yeah, I've got a down country bike. But with the geometry slacked out like that and a little more front suspension, they're a legit bike. And I would have never thought that would be the case, but I know some guys that have the bigger suspension hardtails and they're slacked out. And it's hard to keep up with them, you know, if you get the right guy on them.
Yeah.
So then it's kind of all boiling down to whatever you can ride, you know, kind of bring what you have and just run it. Because there's so many different bikes now, you know, the dual crown or like what's his name in the Red Bull Rampage wanted on a single crown.
Yeah.
Like what? You
yeah.
know, you're doing all that. You know, Semenok, you're doing all that on a single crown, to where last year or even the year before, just the notion of that, he would have been laughed out. You know, but he had a point to prove, and he did it all on a single crown.
Paul, you got so many connections. When can we? You got to get us there to ramp because it's invite only.
Well. Yeah, I mean, I'm working on that. I'll give you a call in a couple months.
All right.
Yeah.
So we're in the van. We don't have heater, so it's starting to cool down in here. I don't have.
Yeah.
We did. It was warm when we started, so we've been going over an hour. So we'll go ahead and wrap this up. So Paul, thanks for coming on.
Thanks for having me on.
Man, I can't wait to ride with you when this weather breaks. We've had 3 days of rain, it seems like, and yeah, I hope I do some racing with you.
Well, let's make it happen, and you know, it's like we're Sprinter Brothers now. I know that sounds weird, but
yeah, Sprinter Brothers.
We're Sprinter Brothers. But yeah, let's like I say, 2022 is going to be a great year.
Yeah,
you know, I just feel it.
I meant to ask, are you gonna, even though it's not mountain biking, you're going to go to the cross country World Cup? Not cross country, cyclocross.
Okay. Historically, I would say no. However, yeah.
Yeah, I think so too. Is that February or January?
I think it's in February.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, cyclocross is crazy. Even the cross country stuff. You know, everything isn't. Cyclocross today isn't how it was 10 years ago, 5 years ago. Even cross country. So everything has stepped their game up. You know, everything cyclocross now. It's good spectator. But you have some good battles, you know. You have some good battles, great athletes. Cross country too. You have good battles, good athletes, and everything's just stepping the game up. And it's all a part of cycling. Yeah, and this area's pushing it. So
yeah,
I'm going. I'm going to buy the T-shirt too.
I'm going to get one of those shirts you got on.
These right here?
I'm going to have to talk to them.
Okay. I'll call my people and see if we can get you one.
All right. Well, Paul, thanks for coming on, and yeah. And then, everybody, thanks for listening. I appreciate it greatly. See ya.